Hi, my name is Zachariah Connor, and I really like Fender guitars and Jazzmasters and stuff, hence why half of my videos are on my Jazzmaster or related things. Today, I want to explore the question of, were the Duncan design Jazzmaster pickups that came in my Squier Vintage Modified Jazzmaster over there that I got in 2016, were they that bad? Or was it just other people trying to get you to buy more expensive aftermarket pickups? Was it just a matter of taste? Really, what was going on? Okay, so just kind of a quick recap of my history with this guitar. In case you haven't seen any of the other videos about this guitar, basically I got this guitar as a birthday present for my 19th birthday, I believe, after during my freshman year of college for my dad. Thank you, Dad. And I remember trying it out versus some other guitars. I tried the Coronado, the Modern Player Coronado, the Modern Player Starcaster, and I liked this one the best. And I think my dad was impressed with my frugality or my cheap taste, because this guitar was $300 and the other ones were like $600-700 or something like that. And so he was like, "Oh, sure, I'll get that for you for your birthday." So I got the guitar. It was really great. I'd kind of wanted a Jazzmaster, and in fact, I wanted to get a Jazzmaster as my second guitar. Basically, they only had a Jaguar in stock, and I wanted to do this specific lesson. Like, you sign up for a year of lessons, and you get a Squier for, you know, an Affinity Squier for free, or a Vintage Modified for 100 off. And so I wanted to get the Jazzmaster when I had signed up for those lessons a couple of years ago, but the Jazzmaster I wanted, the Sunburst one, had just gotten sold right before, so I ended up with the Surf Green Jaguar, and I loved the Jaguar, but I always had wanted the Jazzmaster. And I'm glad I ended up with this color, because I much prefer this one to the Sunburst, at least on the Squiers, because the Squiers have a lot of body parts, like 3-piece. Long story short, I got the guitar, and I was okay with the sound of it. I liked the sound of the neck pickup. I liked the sound of the middle position. I wasn't keen on the bridge. It was pretty honky with stock Duncan design pickups. And it was a little bit dark, and I kind of wanted something with a little more sparkle, a little more, and I thought it might be fun to try a humbucker. So I looked around. I found these pickups from the Creamery, the Baby 71 wide range for Jazzmaster, and the Classic 58 Jazzmaster pickup, and I popped those in about a year after buying the guitar, and I just loved that sound, and I played those pickups for many years until 2020, and then I kind of got tired and wanted to go for a single coil bridge. I went to the Fender Pure Vintage 65 set, and then I switched over to the Motortone 59 clones recently, and that video is, there's a review video of those as well. So anyway, this is getting long-winded. I'll have to chop some of this up. But I'd always, as soon as I got the Creamery pickups, I was like, yes, these are better. There is no question. There's more, the frequencies feel more balanced. It's less filtered and like choked sounding. The bridge pickup gives me kind of that grunt that I want without that like nasal honk that the stock one had. At least not as much. But you know, time went on, and I circled back around to putting single coils in, and the Fenders are very bright, just aggressively bright, more scooped in the mids than these were. And so I was curious when I was trying out different Jazzmaster pickups to replace the Fenders. I was like, well, I still have these old ones. Let's try them out. And so those are the samples you're going to hear is from when in December I shot out all my Jazzmaster pickups. But I wanted to make a separate video that kind of talked about really how bad were the Duncan design pickups, because the internet collectively like pooed on these pickups and said that, hey, if you own the Squier Vintage Modified Jazzmaster, you have to replace these. You have to replace them. They are not, you know, pro sounding. And I wanted to revisit that, because in the comparison, I found them to not be so horrible. Yes, the bridge pickup is a bit honky and dark. It's not the strong point. yes, the bridge pickup is a bit honky and dark. It's not the strong point. The neck pickup honestly sounds pretty dang decent. And maybe I'm just not as much of a neck pickup guy, but I found when I did the shootout that the Jazzmaster pickups were remarkably similar sounding. The neck pickups were. The bridge pickups is where I noticed the biggest difference, and this I think is because some were overwound, some were not. This one was overwound. And so I appreciate Duncan or Fender, whoever spec'd these pickups, saying, hey, you know, the people who are playing these, they're not going to want that really ice picky, you know, 60s Fender bridge sound, so let's fatten it up. And they did, but I think they overdid it a tiny bit. It's a bit too, like, the mid honk on this thing is shocking. And maybe that's the way I play. Maybe that's the way I set my rig up. Maybe that's this guitar in general. This guitar in general seems to have a kind of honk to the mid-range in, you know, regardless of whatever pickups I put in it, but these pickups seem to accentuate that. There's lots of questions that remain unanswered, but after listening back to the samples, you gotta admit, the Duncan design pickups may not be for everyone, and I don't think they are. But they weren't awful. A lot of people wrote them off as terrible, bad, cheap, not good sounding. They're not that bad. The neck pickup, honestly, you could keep using forever, and you would probably be okay with it. The bridge pickup is a little bit much, I'll say that. But the neck pickup really isn't that bad. After listening back to the samples, let me know what you think. Do you think these pickups sound decent? Fine? Bad? I think the answer will be different for everyone. Some people might say, oh, well, Zach, you set up your rig in such a way that it's making them sound unflattering. Sure, I only had like 15 minutes to, less than that. I only played them for like 10 to 15 minutes, and I was trying to keep the settings exactly the same as I had with the Novaks, the Fenders, and the Motortones. So now I still have these pickups. I didn't bother selling them. And I think an interesting comparison would be pulling out the Squier, buying a set of the Squier Classic Vibe pickups and maybe the American Pro 2 pickups and throwing them in my Jazzmaster and shooting those out. I think that would be a really interesting comparison. To summarize, the Duncan Design JM101N and JM101B pickups are really not that bad. I find the neck pickup to be the most good, to be the better pickup. It's more vintage voiced. It's more lower. It's a lower output pickup, and I think it better suits that guitar, at least my Jazzmaster, than the bridge pickup does. The bridge pickup is trying too hard to sound like a humbucker. It's kind of like the JM Fat. It's like a cheap JM Fat. So, but without as much of that nice clarity. The JM Fat has a nice balanced frequency response. This pickup is kind of uneven. The mids are really, it's kind of got almost Tube Screamer mid push to it that I'm not a fan of. And that top end is kind of pulled back in a way. It's like simultaneously harsh and honky and too dark. I don't really know how to describe it other than that. So I think if you're going, you know, how bad is my vintage modified Jazzmaster? Not bad. But I think if you're going to choose one pickup to change, it probably will be the bridge pickup, in my opinion, my humble opinion. And the Motortone is a great choice if you want something that better balances the neck. The JM Fat is a great choice if you want something that's hot and powerful, and is going to deliver, you know, a nice overdriven, you know, it can drive your amp a little bit. That's my thoughts on the Seymour Duncan designed JM 101B and 101N. Let me know what your thoughts of them are in the comments down below, and I'll try to answer each and every comment. Let me know what you'd like to see next. We'll see what I have time for, but I appreciate suggestions, comments, likes, subscribes, all of that good stuff. See y'all in the next one.